Well, for 3 quarters, we had hope and praise and a shutout going, and then the Jets showed you that they can rip the living shit right out of you and tear your heart apart in less than a quarter and go back to being the old Jets. Let's break it down. Hey guys, I'm Howie. Welcome back to JetsHQ. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that was tough to take. I really enjoyed sharing everything with you guys, by the way. Thank you guys, whoever was there with me on the live stream, whoever joined in, and whoever watched it later. Thank you guys for joining with me. It was really fun to share that experience with you, even if it did turn out to be a total bowl of dog shit. I really appreciated every single one of you being there and joining me with us. That was great. Let's get down to the breakdown. Now, the Jets had some good and some bad in this game. For 3 quarters, they shut out the Bills. Now, the Bills don't exactly have a juggernaut offense, but they're not bad either. And for the shutout, for them to shut them out for 3 quarters was actually quite impressive. Now, I'm not saying anything about the Jets offense, but the Jets defense was cruising along quite well. C.J. Mosley was a beast in this game. He obviously he had a pick six for our first score of the game, and he also had a fumble recovery later, plus many other tackles and forcing of plays and things like that. C.J. Mosley was everywhere. There was a lot of other good ones too. Jamal Adams was great. Quinnen Williams showed up a few times. Now he's not starting, but he did on the plays that he was in. He did force the play quite often away from him. Steve McClendon ended up with a great fumble recovery. So that nose tackle position is looking really good. We had a lot of good pressure on the quarterback, and really the defense drove the game for 3 quarters. Even if our offense wasn't really clicking, wasn't really showing much. During that time, the defense had complete control of the game. The turning point really was when C.J. Mosley got injured with a groin injury and ended up coming out for the rest of the game, and that's where everything fell apart. The linchpin from the Jets defense was pulled out, and they unzipped like an old pair of pants. They folded faster than Superman on laundry day and turned a 16-0 strong struggle for 3 quarters into a 17-16 loss to the Bills. Just completely embarrassing. Now, that's not to say that we weren't given the opportunity to win the game. We were. First off, Sam Darnold missed several open receivers throughout this game. Quite notably, Robbie Anderson was open on at least 2 or 3 go routes, just waving his arms down the field without anyone within 20 yards of him, and Sam Darnold didn't even look in his direction. Now, you'll have to excuse me, but I've not been in camp with the Jets, inside the huddle and inside the QB room, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that Robbie Anderson is your wide receiver 1. He's your first check on the check down process, so maybe you're not looking at him long enough to see that he's getting open, or maybe you're just not trusting him to blow by these receivers, these cornerbacks, but he is, and he's standing there wide open. Now, in press conferences afterwards, Adam Gase blamed a lot of the problems on the receivers and not on Darnold, but I think that we all saw the open receivers that were missed on several different plays. So not all of this is on the receivers. A lot of this is on Darnold. Now, it's the first game, and Darnold is still, it's new and early season, but this is not the kind of thing that a guy who we're looking for to take a big step forward in his second season can be missing, even right off the bat. So big negative sign right there. That one was definitely on Darnold, and that needs to be corrected in a hurry. Okay. Furthermore, and I'm going to get to the kicker situation in a second. I know that's what everybody's pointing to, and it's what you should be pointing to. But we scored 16 points in this game, and it should be noted 8 of those points were scored on offense. 8 of those points were scored on defense. Now, we had a pick 6 by C.J. Mosley, but we also had a safety. So there's the 8 points scored on defense. And on offense, our 6 points was a touchdown by Le'Veon Bell and a 2-point conversion to Le'Veon Bell. By the way, that 2-point conversion was either lucky or amazing. I haven't decided which. Sam Darnold ended up scrambling around, and then he just lollipopped a beautiful, perfect pinpoint pass to the back of the end zone. Only Le'Veon Bell could touch that ball, so that was just perfect. It was nice to see. I sure hope he meant to do that, and I sure hope it wasn't just a lucky throw, because that was sweet. But scoring 8 points on offense and 8 points on defense is not going to get it done in this league. Our offense was expected to do a whole lot more. Yes, Le'Veon Bell did score a touchdown, but he struggled for most of the game, and mostly due to the lack of creativity in the play calling. Calling runs directly up the middle with our offensive line and getting Bell just crushed, hit 2 or 3 times behind the line of scrimmage before he could even try to make anything out of the runs is just criminal. Le'Veon Bell made almost all of his 100 yards of rushing the hard way. He really did. And he was getting hit once or twice behind the line of scrimmage, behind this offensive line, before he ever even was starting to make positive yards. And he still made positive yards on almost all of the plays. They were blitzing Sam Darnold quite often. We were not responding with halfback screens. What we were responding with was wide receiver screens, and more to the point, it was the same wide receiver screen. Now, I don't know about you, but everybody could see by the third quarter that if Jamison Crowder was lined up in the backfield and then went in motion, it was going to be a wide receiver screen out wide to either Anunwa or to Robbie Anderson, and we ran that play maybe 5 times. If I could notice that it was going to be that play, what do you think the Bills were thinking? And there wasn't, and what I was thinking was maybe one of these times it was going to be a surprise, and the Bills were going to try to cover the wide receiver screen, and then we were going to go deep down the middle or something different. But there never was a different. That's what we did every time. So it was unbelievably disappointing. Now, maybe even halfback tosses to go around the corner. There was one where I was watching the game and I suggested we run a sweep to the outside. We did. We ended up with picking up like an 11 or 12 yard run with Le'Veon Bell. So, something not directly up the middle with our, piss poor offensive line. Just so much that you could physically watch, and nothing. When they go into halftime, you're thinking, okay, they're going to change this. They're going to fix this. They see this upstairs in the booth, and they come out and they went on a scoring drive, but they didn't seem to change a whole lot for the rest of the game, and it really was disappointing. Lack of creativity from somebody who was supposed to be an amazing offensive play calling genius. So, really, 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 disappointing. We didn't see enough of the halfback screens to Le'Veon Bell. We did not see any 2-back sets with Ty Montgomery and Le'Veon Bell in the backfield. There was 1 or 2 plays where Westgill lined up as a fullback and was a lead blocker, and those worked out pretty nice because we need an extra blocker with this piss-poor offensive line that we have. So, no 2-back sets so that you could swing out wide with passes and things like that. There was none of that creativity that we were hoping to see. Of course, also, not everything on defense was perfect. Even through the first 3 quarters, it was quite obvious that Trumaine Johnson was not playing very well. In most of the coverages that he was in, you could see that when the passes were coming downfield from Josh Allen, especially most of his passes were in that 5 to 15 yard range, the little dinks and dunks that he was putting on, that Trumaine Johnson was giving a huge bubble of area to his receiver that he was covering, allowing them to make all of these passing plays, these short yardage passing plays, and the Bills were taking advantage of it. If you're going to give it to us, we're going to take it. And when Trumaine Johnson was in coverage and the passes were coming the way, you just could see that he looked confused. He looked like out of place. He looked like he wasn't keeping up with the calling and where he was supposed to be. So I'm not sure if he's just not up to speed, from being out or what's going on. But we need to pick that up, and we need to pay attention to that, because that's going to be a real problem. Then, of course, we come to the main thing that everyone wants to talk about, and that is the complete shit show that is the Jets kicker position. Kerry Vedvik was less than optimal choice on game day against the Bills. We figured when he came out to kick that extra point on the C.J. Mosley pick six that it would be a good start for the day, because he'd be able to get that first kick off, the nice easy extra pointer, put it through the middle, and just coast for the rest of the game. And you knew as soon as he shanked that extra point that we were done with kickers. There was no way on earth he was going to make a kick for the rest of the game. There was just no possibility of it leaving his head. So on kickoffs, he was fantastic. He kicked every single kickoff through the back of the end zone, which is great. I'll take that all year. Nobody returning a kick on us this year would be fantastic. So he's got the leg, but his brain and his accuracy are missing. So thankfully we cut him. And, even if he had made that extra point, we would have been tied 17-all. If he had made the extra point or the field goal, if he had made the field goal, obviously we would have won the game. So, as we said previous to this, our kicker position was going to cost us a couple of games this year, and we're 1 for 1. Already cost us one game. Was it the only thing that cost us a game? No. Was it the main thing? No. Was it the most important thing? Yes. Because we could have overcome all of our other obstacles with a made field goal or even a made extra point. The Jets ended up +4 in the turnover column. Even if you wanted to consider the one on fourth down not a turnover, we're still +3 on the turnover column. It was a fantastic day in turnovers. There's no way a team as strong as the Jets should lose a game when they're +4 in the turnovers. They were looking really good, 16-0. It was, we weren't comfortable, but we were confident, and they came apart like a cheap suit. So, really sad, really unfortunate, and there's not much that we can say about that. Okay, so now that we've cut Kerry Vedvik, we've signed Sam Ficken, who was a last-minute cut by the Green Bay Packers. So we're going to get a chance to see how he does. He can't be any worse than than Taylor Bertolette and Kerry Vedvik. But, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we're sure missing that kicker that's over in Seattle that maybe we should have paid. I know you don't want to hear it, but that's, what can you say? That's the legacy of Mike MacCagnan still looming over our new season here and reinforcing the feeling that maybe we should call him up and fire him again, send him a letter, send him an email. Why don't you guys all join his Facebook page and fire him one more time. Let him know how we feel about that missed signing there, and appreciate it. Give him my thanks from all of you, please. Further, now we've been notified that Nathan Shepard has been suspended for 6 games due to PED violations. He admitted to the to the taking of performance-enhancing drugs, so he'll be out for 6 games. Thankfully, that's not a crushing blow, but it is a depth blow, so we're going to have to fill in where we lost him. But since he goes on the suspended list, we don't have to make any cuts for the fact that we traded for Demaryius Thomas. So now we pick up Demaryius Thomas, who was an extra leftover from the New England Patriots now. Even though Demaryius Thomas has a great name and he was a great player, he was the last man out on the New England Patriots now that they signed Antonio Brown. So we traded for Demaryius Thomas. We gave them a 6th-round pick. Not a bad trade. Adds depth, adds a veteran leader and a guy who had a lot of experience at being one of the best in the NFL for a long period of time. And it's an unusual situation, of course, because it is the first time that the Jets have ever traded with Bill Belichick. Ever. And it's been a long time since I think the Jets have made a trade with the Patriots, even beyond that. But, so interesting. Trade between division rivals. So very interesting there, and hopefully, it'll bear a little bit of fruit for the Jets. Probably bear more fruit than a 6th round pick, so that it's a positive thing. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you joining me. I'm sorry about the negativity on this breakdown, but this was a crushing blow. One little side note I do want to mention, and I was reading this when I was watching some of Gangrene David's video, which was spot on, by the way. And if you guys are not already subs of Gangrene David and watch his channel, you really need to, because the guy has just fantastic insight, and he goes to as many of the games as he can, and he really gives you the flavor of being there. So just a good shout out to Gangrene David. But he made a very good observation on his Facebook page, and or his Twitter page, and he said that the feeling in the stadium at MetLife Stadium was just not good. There were a lot of empty seats. There were way more Bills fans there than there should have been. And I think that there was another. I think Manish in the Post was writing that the ticket prices have gotten to the point at MetLife Stadium that most Jet fans aren't going to the games. So we've got a lot of empty seats, and there's a lot of extra seats available for the opposing teams fans to come in and take up those seats. So the feeling in the stadium, the noise in the stadium, the whole energy, the whole vibe is diminished, and I think that's an important thing. Even though you're not on the field, you are the 12th man at the stadium, and not having that vibe is definitely impactful to the team. They can feel it, so it's a sad state of affairs on that one too. And I thought that was a great point by both Manish and by Gangrene David, and I wanted to bring that up too. So congratulate them on that observation, and I agree. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please go ahead and drop a like on it. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate everybody being here, and I look forward to the next game. Hopefully we can have a better result, and I will be live with that one too, so please join me for the live stream. I'll go on live maybe about a half an hour before the game starts. Try to give you guys a chance to settle in and get ready for it, and then we'll sit and we'll chat and we'll enjoy the game. So please join me. I look forward to having you there. And also please check out the description below for links if you guys want to send me any pictures or anything for me to add to the videos here to put up for anything that's Jets related. I'd love to share some of that with the rest of the viewership. And also, if you guys want to support the channel in any way, there's a link in the description below for that as well. And I appreciate everything anybody has done or sent. So thank you guys. We'll see you for the next game. And please, as always, remember, let's go Jets.